And welcome back everyone to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host as always, LitecoinLeader. Today is February 21st, Monday, President's Day. Some consider that a minor holiday, but for a lot of federal workers, this is a day off. So that's like you may find you may not get mail today, most likely. A lot of banks are going to be closed today, what they call a banking holiday. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today. And I picked this location strategically because I'm straddling the line between a North American bank and a bank that's based north of our border. And I don't want to say what country that is, but they like hockey, they like ice, they like beer, they like maple syrup. So I think you know what I'm talking about. So imagine me standing, say, on a bridge in Michigan between two countries. So you may find some banks that are closed today. I want to talk about bank holidays today. So once again, I'm your host as always, LitecoinLeader. So welcome to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. Jumping right in this morning because I'm filming very early because banks are closed, traffic is low, it's a little chilly, so bear with me. But today is a holiday for many people, and banking holidays are important things that people need to know about. And it was a major factor in the news story for both Bitcoin and also some truckers up north. So for those of you who didn't know about I'm choosing my words judiciously so this video doesn't get flagged. But there were some drivers up north and they weren't able to monetize what they were trying to accomplish. So their banking system was shut down, so they had to adopt Bitcoin. So there was a great use case for Bitcoin. But it was in Canada, they declared last week that one of their days last week, 5 major banks were shut, and they called it it's basically a banking holiday. So today in America is a banking holiday. So it's February 21st. There are rumors, for those of you who follow the Nasara thing, that today being, or tomorrow being multiple Tuesday. I'm not sure what else you're going to call that, but it's 2/22/22. Some numerologists think that that's going to be a Nasara day or a banking holiday, or things are going to change in our financial system tomorrow. But I wanted to point out, like, first off, a video that I did, and it's, if I can remember the shoulder, I think it's this one. If I raise my left hand, I should be able to point to a video that I'm going to add later. I talked about bailouts versus bail-ins, and I'm trying to speak loudly because even though traffic is low, noise gets picked up. But when these guys, big banks like these guys, they were back, let me back up about 15 years. Real estate was booming, everything was booming, and then you get to 2007, 2008, too big to fail. The banks were this close to imploding, the banking system. And then we had the bailout of the major banks. We had a Lehman Brothers type of moment. So the government stepped in and bailed out the U.S. banks. Fixed our financial system, they said, but basically just gave them an extension from 2008, from collapsing all the way to 2022, we think now. But what do you need to know about it? What do you need to know about bailouts versus bail-ins? First, bailouts come from the government, money they print or just create and give the banks to keep them solvent. But I think it was 2010, Dodd-Frank was passed. The Dodd-Frank law was about bailouts, and it said that major banks, and these are banks with over $50 billion of assets under management, they need to have a bankruptcy plan. And one of those bankruptcy plans is typically a bail-in. Now what a bail-in is when they confiscate the depositor's money. They basically, that's no longer your money, and they just confiscate it. They just say, well, we have these assets, we have these creditors, we're going to take those assets because they're a lower priority and move them to creditors that are higher priority. Basically taking your deposits from your bank and moving it to a higher valued creditor, like a stockholder, shareholder, some investor, whatever. So what do you need to know to prevent your money being confiscated from the bank? First off, I really recommend that you go find a local bank or a credit union and open an account there. Usually that's like $20 or less to open it, but credit unions, local credit unions typically have assets under management under $1 billion. The average, let's see, the average number I had, where's my notes? I don't have my notes in front of me. And so the average bank, I think it's like the average credit union is about $280 million assets under management. Now the median bank is 241, but it's skewed so high because of the major banks up to the top. So what you need to watch out for is I'm going to provide that list. There's about 50 major banks that have over $50 billion in assets under management. Now it's going to look like 50 million in this list because it's listed in thousands, but basically the top 50 you want to avoid. Any bank you can think of that you've seen major commercials for, major advertisements, you've seen their name on stadiums, those are the banks you probably want to avoid. Banks like this one, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, those types of major banks, sure, but also your regional banks, your M&T, your PNC. Let me think about Chase is big. I'm trying to think. What's another one? I don't think 3/5 is or 5/3 is. All right. People with the radios are waking up, so I'm going to pause here. All right, we're back again. The guy with the blasting radio is going from the stoplight. So I tried to wrap this video up before traffic really picks up this morning. President's Day, as I said, is a banking holiday. What can you do? You want to be in banks that are under $50 billion of assets under management. Typically, that's a credit union, or a local bank that doesn't have many branches. And again, I'm going to provide that list. But if you have a bank that's probably multiple states, that's probably one that's going to be a little bit bigger. You want to check out how much assets under management and maybe have a local bank. So my advice to you, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but as a strategist, you probably want to have multiple banks, and you probably already do. But if you have banks like Bank of America, Chase, gotta get a move on. All right, if you're a bank like Bank of America, Chase, even TD is pretty big. A top 50 bank, a bank with a name on a stadium, name on an arena. I'm just trying to think of like PNC, M&T, banks that I'm familiar with, mentally running down. But a credit union is the way to go. And so that way you have the protection. The credit unions they're not FDIC. They're different. I think it's FCUA. I don't remember the acronym, but if you know it, please post it down the bottom. Leave a comment. But the biggest thing you could do is have those like your multiple accounts. And the reason a crypto guy is bringing up the banking system is that I talked about this before. We are walking the bridge between two different financial systems: the legacy one, which are these guys, and the crypto one. Now, until we get to a point where it's very simple for us to pay an electric bill or a phone bill with Litecoin, and if you don't have the Litecoin card, you know how to do this. But until that's a mainstream thing, we have to walk the line between the two different systems. So, to protect your assets, to protect your wealth, you want to have an account where the assets are under $50 billion with an entity that's $50 billion or less of assets under management. So just be sure to do that to protect your wealth until we get to away from the entire legacy system built by these guys into the new one that we all love, the crypto world. So, lots said today. Traffic is building. Let me wrap this up. Hey, if you liked what I said, if you're on a holiday, if your banks are closed, #bank. I'll also leave up the old bail-in one that I talked about before. But know the rules on your banking and read that fine print, because once you deposit that money to the bank, it's no longer yours. It's their deposits. So, lots said today. Traffic is building. Temperature's rising. Sound will only get worse from here. So I'm gonna say close the door of the bureau. Say follow the leader. And I'll see you next time. Take care.